Hey everyone, I'm your RRSP guide Sahil Gogna. Welcome back to my video. So guys, today's video is about the finance industry and we have tried to discuss various profiles that you can apply for if you are looking for a job, various skills required, the certifications that you need to do, and much more. At the end, we have also tried to discuss few of the terminologies that you should know as an international student if you're trying to invest in the market here. So this is going to be a very informational video packed with knowledge, and let me know in the comment section if you need more such videos about the investing, about the stock market, or any other topics that interest you. So without any delay, let's get started. So hi Sanchit, first of all, thanks a lot for helping me out to understand a bit about the finance industry because this is the very hot topic these days.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to explore this thing.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure and good to be back.
Yeah. So guys, I already did one video with Sanchit about his MBA Finance in detail. And Sanchit, the reason we are doing this one is because I was getting a lot of questions from the students who want to do their degrees in finance or some programs in colleges. And whenever they reach me out that, hey Sahil, I want to know about the finance industry, I have no idea what I'm dealing with because I belong to software industry, so I know like which profiles are there for me, right?
Yeah.
It's like someone asking me like, hey, I want to work in software industry, but I know like there are a lot of different profiles, there are a lot of different roles and responsibilities. We need different skills for every profile. So my question is, when someone asks about the finance industry, what are the exact profiles that they're targeting or the exact skills they require for those types of profiles?
Yeah, so Sahil, finance is like has a very wide spectrum of jobs and wide spectrum of career opportunities. So people who are like ranging from sales experience to technical experience and to pure investment experience, there are different layers of finance. For example, if you are good at financial sales, there are very good opportunities waiting for you at any Canadian bank where you can be in a client facing role and you can advise clients and using your customer service skills on how to invest and how to save for their retirement. So those are the frontline roles regarding finance. A lot of roles in frontline involve like talking about mortgages, being a mortgage specialist, being a financial advisor, financial planner. And when it comes to the back-end roles, for example, the role that I am in is a financial analyst role. So where you use technology and tools to help your business move, make good decisions, good financial decisions. So these are the different kind of roles that finance has to offer. So it depends upon the kind of skill set that you have and your interest. You can opt for any one of them.
So is there like there's also a term called investment banking or investment banker, right?
Yes.
So is this also something related to these types of profiles?
Yes. So when it comes to investment banking, you have to make sound investment decisions for your clients or for your company wherever you work. So it is a part client based role and it's a part financial analysis role. So it's a very complex field that requires for a lot of jobs it requires a thing called CFA. So a person who, it is not a mandatory thing, but a person who has a CFA has an obvious advantage over a person who does not.
So it's basically sort of certification, right?
Yes, it's like a chartered financial analyst. It's the financial equivalent of a CA.
Chartered accountant.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have that certificate, you are eligible to give people the financial advices through the companies you are
You are eligible to work in investment banking, and in order to give people financial advices, for example, to general public, we usually like banks employ people at their branches. Those are known as financial advisors and financial planners. That is a slight different job profile. So for that you have to do your mutual funds license. In order to be a mutual funds representative registered with your bank, you get a license to practice your investment advisory skills. So that's a different thing when you are in a general public facing role. And the second thing is the investment banking, where you make big decisions, for example managing a portfolio or a portfolio of stocks or working with your company to invest the client's money. The clients can be anybody in that sense. They could be corporations, they could be very rich people. So there's a variety of financial
I can
advice.
sound a lot of money being moved from here and there, and so Sanchit, I have a question related to this thing. So you there's a lot of money involved in these types of profiles, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of risk and everything. So so how do you prepare for these types of job roles? So is it something that's being taught in your master's program or the program that they'll be choosing in a college, or is it something that you learn while you're in the job? So basically related to your degree, like how this degree, your MBA Finance, it prepared you for the industry.
So, like, I'll talk from my experience. So as far as me studying in MBA Finance, I've realized that the concepts that are taught in MBA are very are generic, right?
Okay.
So they have a universal application, but when you delve into a job, you dig deeper into a specific area of finance, and you understand the nuances of that particular area when you are in that situation. So there are very various kind of situations that you come through in a job, whereas in your degree you study like a general for like how do we value stocks, and in general how do we
Okay.
value stocks and how are stocks priced, so those kind of things. But when you, for example, if you work in a bank and you're a financial advisor, you deal with people, multiple types of people every day, those who have different financial circumstances. So in terms of getting prepared for those kind of roles, I don't think like just having academic knowledge will prepare you for that. For that you will have to go into the specific industry and have some experience, and it gets valued over time.
And also you need to do some certifications, like as you have mentioned.
Yes.
So talking about those certifications, is it something that you do when you are into the job role? So let's say you get into as a financial analyst into a company, right?
Yeah.
And then you do the certifications, or like when you are back in your program, you decide that okay, I want to be a financial analyst or investment banking industry. So then you do the certification.
So I think that depends upon your clarity of what you want to do.
Okay.
For example, when I was doing my MBA Finance, I had an open vision, like I can try different types of professions within the finance to understand where am I suited the best as per my skill set. So I worked for a bank for about a year, and so in order to reach those positions where you are able to give financial advice or where you are able to give credit advice, so for that you have to have some certifications. For example, Canadian securities course or investment funds in Canada. So those are the certifications that you have to have before you can practice those skills. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So till this point of time, we have discussed that if someone is talking about finance industry, probably they are talking that they want to be the financial analyst or investment banker, or some related profile, right? So Sanchit, talking about these financial roles, what's the significance of a financial analyst or these type of role to a company? So basically, I want to know, like, is it something that you just do for the clients, or the companies also value these types of people or these type of profiles for the internal functioning?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. So a financial analyst is also a varied kind of role.
Okay.
So you have financial analyst for that will help with the internal financial decisions of a company. Along with that, there are also financial analysts, for example, in venture capital firms, that will analyze the financial situations of a company where they want to invest in. So it works both ways. It can help a company make their internal financial decisions. Also can be a client facing role where they provide sound investment decisions or sound risk assessments to the client if they have. Also in a firm like venture capital, where they can they can assess another company and make a decision whether their firm wants to invest in that company or not. So it's also a varied kind of role. So when you say that I want to become a financial analyst, you have to figure out what kind of financial analyst you want to become, because it has a lot of different job descriptions.
So how do you figure out, like for you, how did you get to know that okay, I want to be into the finance industry? So right now there are a lot of aspirants who are looking to our videos, and they might be getting some knowledge that okay, so this is what means to be working into a financial role, and these are the profiles. But how can they decide whether they are good for this profile or not, or like at least judge their skills that they will be good at doing these types of roles?
So I think for me it started with the skills. So when I tried a client facing role where like I used to talk to the clients every day, and I'm currently the role that I have is a backend job where I use like technical tools and technologies at my disposal to make financial decisions. So like based upon those things, I would say for me I had to go through those roles to understand whether I'm a good fit or not. And I was like blessed enough to have the opportunity to find the right role at the right time. But none of the experiences that I had went to waste. one experience led to the other, and I was able to find subsequent jobs because of my prior experiences. So I think it all came together at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Sanchit, you talked about advising other people for their financial decisions, right?
Yeah.
How did you learn those things? So is it something that you learned on your own, or when you were at the job you were provided with some things that you were analyzing and then providing some information to the other clients? So how was this thing working out for you?
So the financial institution that I worked at, and I'm sure like probably all of the financial institutions, they believe in training you for the role.
Okay.
So they see the your mindset is inquired about in the interview, right? The kind of mindset you have. So if you have the mindset to think financially, then they hire you, and after that the training occurs at the job. So I was shadowing a lot of other advisors who were giving advice at the moment, and
Okay.
by observing them, by seeing what kind of nuances they care of by advising a financial decision to a person. So I think so I was trained by them, and that is how I went on doing that myself.
Okay.
So it was not that I knew it from the start. I was trained on the job. I just had the basic skill set, the understanding of how the financial how the banking or the finance industry in Canada works.
Okay, sounds cool. And Sanchit, okay, so till this point of time, you have shared that you need to have a theoretical knowledge, or you need to be good at your degree or whatever the program you are learning, and you will be trained at your job, right? So there's one step in between getting a job and interviewing for a job, right? So how does that thing work out for you? Because as I can understand from you is that when you are into an MBA program, so you learn a lot.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of scope. Like when you get into the job, you have to learn a lot of new things. You have to learn actually how the practical world works out, right? But if you don't have those skills, like if a company needs to train, what exactly they look into for a candidate, and how the interview processes goes for these profiles?
So Sahil, it is not mandatory to have a proper formal education in finance to be into finance.
Okay.
Because I studied finance, I had a bit of more expectations from myself that I will get into a role, that is for a bit qualified person who has a background in finance. But for any general person who wants to be in banking or in finance, they can start from an entry level job.
Okay.
That requires you to have like a basic education and good computer skills, so that you can then move your way up from there.
By doing certifications, right?
By doing certifications, by getting the exposure, like spending some time at your job and learning and networking with people and learning about your job and obviously your performance.
Okay.
So all those things, they help you move forward. You having a education definitely helps, but it's not mandatory to have the formal education in finance.
It's a lot of details for me and someone who's not from finance industry
Yeah.
to digest. So Sanchit, if we talk about so I'll tell you from a common man's perspective. So whenever we talk about finance, we always think about investing.
Yeah.
So how does this thing prepare you for investing, or like how do you have knowledge of this thing?
So when it comes to finance, investing is one subset of finance.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like for example, my degree it was specializing in finance, and
Okay.
when I was studying that, we were taught a lot about the capital markets, the stocks, the bonds, how to value them, how to see if a stock is underpriced or overpriced. So those are the things that are like a part of your curriculum in your
So
degree.
investing is one subset of the finance industry.
Yes, it's just one subset of the finance industry. So there are many other like banking, like corporate finance, which does not have to do anything with investing,
Okay.
which has to do your financial research. So yes, I was taught about that, but a lot more than that I also learned when I was working in a bank, when I used to give out financial advice, investment related advice
Okay.
to people.
So you have given people the advice that how they should invest their money or where they should invest the money, right?
Yes.
Okay. So talking about that, so let's come to your student life. So as a student, like a lot of students have a doubt that are they allowed to invest, or like there are a lot of complications whenever the money is involved, right? So firstly, like can you please tell me, like if someone is coming as an international student, are they allowed to invest into the stock market? Or
So definitely, once you have your SIN number, you can definitely open an investment account and then you can start investing. So that is a definite yes, that you can start investing as a student. There is no apprehension about that.
okay, so is there any connection between working 20 hours on your SIN versus getting some profits from the stock? So how does that
So those are like different things. So your job has nothing to do with your investing style, whether
Okay.
you can invest or not. You can invest either way. It's about the gains that you get from your investments. For example, if you invest $100 and at the end of the at the end of the year, like you make 120 on it, and
Okay.
so whenever you're filing on taxes, you are subject to a capital gain tax, which is applied to 50% of your gains. For example, you invested $100 and now you have 120, so you gained 20, you made a profit of 20, and out of that $20 you are subject to tax on the $10, 50% of the amount.
So like profit divided by 50,
Yeah,
divided by
50% of your
2,
profit.
Okay, 50% of your profit, and then that's the eligible for the taxes.
Yes, yes.
And how do they decide though, like what percentage we need to pay for?
So it's your marginal tax rate, like the tax bracket that you have.
Okay.
So a different depending on a person's financial circumstances, they have different tax brackets. A person making $40,000 a year will have different tax bracket from a person making 70 or 80. So with respect to that.
Okay, so this all is connected to SIN number, right? So so let's try to simplify. Like I'm trying to simplify this thing for my audience. So basically, let's say we are using any XYZ app for the investment purposes, right?
Yeah.
We provide them our SIN number, then we buy the stocks and do all the transactions that we are doing.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, let's say if I have made $100 of profit,
Yeah.
right, irrespective of the money I have put in.
Yeah.
So then they will give me some of the documents in which they might have mentioned that like this is your net profits, and my accountant will look at those net profits and then declare that this is the profits and this is on this we are paying this much of taxes.
So you will apart from your T4s where you get your from your salary,
okay,
or the tax documents that you get, you will be getting different documents depending upon the stocks that you have invested in.
Okay.
So those documents you have to present to your accountant, and then they will be filing in those amounts for your taxes, which will include the capital gain tax.
Okay. So someone who is not from Canada or someone who is just planning to come to Canada, T4 is the document, the tax document that you'll get from your employer.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And in the same way, you get those types of tax documents from the apps or from the financial institution.
I think the CRA gives that to you.
Okay. Yeah. Because everything is connected to your SIN number, so they have all the record that you have done this and that. Okay, so talking about this investing thing, I know like we started from MBA Finance, we moved into like the different job profiles, and I'm really loving like in which direction this conversation is now heading into investment and everything, right? So there are certain types of terms that are confusing for the beginners. So like whenever we talk about investing, so when you log into your CRA profile, so there's something called TFSA limit, tax-free savings account limit, right? So what does that mean? And then there's also something called RRSP. Like these kinds of terms, like for a beginner, it's very confusing, right? So just tell us firstly the difference between these two, what are exactly these, and then maybe because I know like TFSA is something that we need to look into a bit detail. So
I'll give you a brief overview of these things.
Okay.
So a tax-free savings account is an account that you can open with any bank or with the apps that you set.
Okay.
And any investments that you make, you have a contribution limit to that. So I think in the current time it's like $6,000 to $6,500.
So we get that amount every year.
Every year, yes. It keeps adding up. It keeps adding up to your already existing amount. So if you come into Canada, like let's say in 2022, you will get your share of the contribution limit, and then it will keep adding up in the subsequent years. So you can within those limits you can invest the any amount like into the stocks, into the GICs, into the mutual funds, any financial securities you want, and the capital gains that you have off of that, you will not be taxed on that.
Okay.
Whereas when you open a general investment account and you make investments, the capital gains that you have on those investments, you will be taxed on that, like 50% capital gain tax, like I told. But in TFSA is free of that, so it's a very good tool, to invest for some future goal that you might have. For example, a down payment for a house or buying a car.
Okay.
So any capital gains that you have it will not be taxed, and if you make subsequent gains, your contribution limit also increases. So it's a very good tool to do that.
Okay.
Whereas registered retirement savings plan is a tax deferred plan, whereas if you put money in that and you like make investments with that money, you will not have to pay taxes until you are retired. For a person, like in a general sense,
on that amount, right? The one that you're putting into RRSP.
Yes. So if you put in, for example, like $1,000 and you invest that $1,000, so any like capital gain that you are making, you don't have to pay tax on that till the time you're retired.
So how is it different from TFSA? Like in TFSA also,
TFSA
like
you can take the money out anytime, but for RRSP it's not advisable. You can take the money out, but then you'll have to pay the collective tax on it. But it's not advised to take the money out of RRSP, because once you've reached the retirement phase, your tax bracket falls. So you pay less taxes on your money as compared to when you are working and you take out the money, you'll have to pay more taxes. So it is a tax deferred scheme where you can save money on the taxes, and also helps you prepare for your retirement, so that you can take out money when you're retired for your daily expenses.
So for both the accounts, you can put in your money.
Yes.
In TFSA also, like you can invest the money from that account. In RRSP also you can invest. The only difference is that if you take out money from RRSP, so you'll have to pay a huge amount of interest on.
Yes, you'll have to pay the taxes on that, whereas in TFSA it's tax free. So if you are within the limits of the TFSA and you invest, and any capital gains that you have, any money that you make off of your investment, that is tax free.
Okay. So you also mentioned one thing that talking about TFSA, you can also open some sort of personal account and then start investing.
Yes.
Right? Why would someone choose to invest into a personal account when they have this TFSA account and they can save their taxes and everything?
Yeah.
So is there any catch in this?
Yes. So as I said, if you open a personal account, for example, a general investment account, then you'll have to pay capital gain tax on your earnings, your profits. But in TFSA, it's not the case. But the thing is, if you invest in TFSA and your investment goes wrong, so your contribution limit, it usually, like for example, if you have initial contribution limit of let's say 25,000, and you put in 25,000 and your the money that you have invested turns out to be a loss and you have a $20,000 left in your account, that is now your contribution limit. So
you might slash to the.
Yes, you might want to be a little bit more careful while dealing with TFSA as compared to your general investment account.
So is it advisable to hire someone to help us out for this purpose, or
Yes.
do banks or
So
something?
depends upon your knowledge of the the capital markets. For example, a lot of people who like have their regular jobs and cannot always sit to monitor their money, they usually go to their banks, respective banks, and go to their financial advisors and ask them for like what are the scenarios that they can come up with to make regular investments or recurring payments towards their RRSP or towards their TFSA. In that sense, there are some investments that those banks take care of, and so you will be tension free and you will be able to go back to your job doing what you do, and the money gets automatically deposited and gets taken care of by the financial advisors at your bank.
Okay. So are there any heavy fees for someone because someone is investing on your behalf, or like?
There is a fee for the account as well. So generally the banks charge for the investment accounts. If we have with the bank, there is a fee for that, and also if for example if we invest in mutual funds, there is an inherent fee called management fee.
Okay.
So that is charged. So yeah, that gets cut off from there. But the advisory part of the role, for example, if a financial advisor gives you advice and makes investments from them, they get their salary from the bank, so that is not on you. You don't have to pay.
And I think this is not that heavy amount, right? So it's just a few.
You can start with like as less as $100 or $50. That depends upon your bank's condition of how much minimum investment you are allowed to make in a particular financial product.
Okay, so like investment is getting coming out as a very hot topic these days. So if someone has no knowledge about investment and still they want to dive in, apart from researching on their own, they can also go to their bank, talk to the financial advisors, and just get started with a very little amount and start learning side by side, and then they can take it from there, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and one of there are like couple of relatively safe products that they can start by investing small amounts in, like ETFs, index funds. So those are very diversified financial products where the risk is relatively low as compared to the equities. If you let's say put all of your money in a single stock like Google or Tesla or any other company, if you put money in that, you are subject to the risk of that particular company. But if you put it in a index fund, there are like a very varied range of companies in that, and the risk relatively is less. So you can start playing by putting your money in index funds or ETFs. But if you want to go proper into investments and you want to like save for a longer goal, then you should visit your financial advisor.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we started from the finance industry, getting a job, and then we dived into the investment thing. And I really loved this conversation, the way it went to this point. And I feel that we need to make a separate video on this investing part, like what are different, like you mentioned index funds, you mentioned the main stocks of the particular company, how the stocks goes up and down, like the index funds that track some certain companies, and right.
Yes.
So
It's
maybe
like you can think of an index fund as like as a basket of stocks.
Right. So maybe we can make a video in detail in future, but I think we can close this video right now. We have already talked a lot about the finance industry, getting a job, different types of profiles, and then we talked a little bit about investing and different types of accounts for the students and everything. Like this video has already got a very diverse.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot to take in for the first time.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks a lot, Sanchit, and thanks a lot, guys, for watching this video. And let me know if you want to get some more details about the types of investments. Sanchit, I mentioned the types of stocks, the types of ETFs, right? So we can definitely make a detailed video. So he's someone who is into the finance industry, reading and studying on the daily basis, and I think we have a lot to learn. So let me know in the comment section, guys, if you really want to learn more about these types of videos. So this was my attempt to explore, or to just starting to explore the finance industry here in Canada and helping you guys out. So thanks a lot again for watching, and subscribe to the channel for such amazing content, and see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.